Welcome, guys. Freaking Wednesday. Midweek. Not much change so far from Sunday, but there are some things to definitely talk about it. I mean, it's a little bit more quiet and slow price. Mm, Not really like something special, but yeah, let's see how we're gonna deal with it. Let's start with VIX. Still uptrending, like that didn't change at all. Yes, we had a reversal sign or reversal coming in and we dropped quite heavily, but it's still in a support technically. That's why I'm keeping on the daily because I don't bother with 4 hour price on it because it's a little bit more like over the places and not really like something to go from accurate wise, in my opinion. That's why I keep it on the daily just to see the whole trend and a little bit more high in time frame. That's why I'm starting as well indexes with it to look at them, and it gives me a little bit more as well the direction of the market. So this is still up movement in overall. Right? Yes, we went a little bit lower into the area of 17. Let's see if you're gonna break the 16. That's the major one. That's the most important one. Anything else, it's gonna be still continuation for the upside or maybe sideways. We lose 16, then we start to dip and lower into the 14 or even in 13. So that could give us the relief bounce, but we've been kind of waiting for. So yeah, still upwards. Let's see if we're gonna change that in a couple days, maybe or end of the week. There are some data coming in as well, I guess, through the next couple days. So yeah, moving on Dixie. Still same thing. We had a nice dead cat bounce. Technically, not much we did with it. We got quite nicely into the underside readers of the 97 of the previous swing, but that doesn't mean anything. Still, there is quite a way to get back above 98 or around that resistance. So no matter what, this could even go a little bit lower, breaking below 96.1. That could bring us back into the biggest RSI flip that we did on Old Dixie back in 2021, if someone can remember that price action. But we are close to that than to going even in back at $100. So let's see how we're going to deal with that. Not really a big correlation right now on the market together with it. So yeah, we could see potential dropping a little bit lower or going sideways. It could go a little bit more sideways. I need to change a little bit and do some more TA on that one because I've been quite busy and don't pay attention to that a little bit more on the bigger stuff, but on the time frame. But so far, yeah, this is still aiming to go a little bit more sideways or dip maybe lower. Same thing, and this starts to get a little bit more uglier. The overall market, the total tree, besides the big boys, it's still dipping lower, right? We didn't even create any higher high since, what's that? January 27, so a couple weeks, I guess. And yeah, it's still, we had a nice bounce, but didn't change anything, just on the side stuff, barely even touched that, and now we are like ripping off. So the whole daily at 696, that's been done. That's been tested already. I'm not even care. The ones below as well, 60, 50, or sorry, 66 as well. That doesn't care anymore because that's been tested. So all of that stuff, it's been done. Right now, the only thing and the biggest aim is the stuff below us. So let's see if we're going to settle the quote-unquote bear market over here, because I've been mentioning that as well on Viking Stream. What I'm aiming for, that we will drop off and maybe see that small relief bounce or whatsoever, but then the market, bear market stuff, will be gonna settle down. I could find us, especially right now with this situation, that this could be our support and keep us over here. That means overall side, right? We are still uptrending, same as freaking Bitcoin chart, right? And then settling a support over here. That said, we still doing higher low, and then continuation. The next bear market or bull market is going to be somewhere over here, or maybe a little bit like here somewhere, and then do another one. And that's going to be your whole freaking way to whatever we're going to go, right? That kind of stuff. Same thing as freaking Bitcoin, right? That's kind of the aim that I'm looking at it, hence for the whole cycle stuff right now as well. Like we are close to getting back at bear market support. than rather to the all-time high and whatsoever, right? We had this small hip over here. That's all fine. Same thing. We had it over here. We could dip a little bit more lower, right? That's all possible. So yeah, let's see how that's going to be dealing. Technically, I'm kind of aiming like some everything below 594-ish area. Below that, that's going to be a bear market settlement. So yeah, still going lower. Not much to say about that. So if this still drips lower, then you know where the whole market goes as well, right? This cannot go against anything else. Gold, grinding higher up. I've been mentioning as well, like holding up on the support what we are creating right now below us on the high time frame, right? With this whole kind of big smashes to the downside, we still breaking stuff, but then right now we just regain the whole low what we settled over here. So this is still in continuation to go higher. I'm saying that as well for a couple weeks that we could grind it up one more and then do some bigger stuff, or just keep this in a range for a while, right? You don't need to settle a new higher high on it because we've been quite parabolic going upwards. So we still could potentially see some price action like this for a while. We could grind it up one more and then do that one more hooray movement if we're gonna get that. Same thing on silver. Technically, we did been breaking to the downside and still didn't regain the previous high. So this could go for a little bit more like this kind of price action. I would like that a little bit more. And then you start to wipe everything to the upside. That will be even much more prettier for silver, just because the aim is right now a little more in gold than silver. But yeah, it is start to get cheaper and cheaper. You need to redo those levels as well. Moving on, not much on CME gap. We didn't settle any last weekend, so there's not much to say about it. It's still the bigger one up side, still open up, and there's one more smaller one on the low time frame, but I don't care about that much about it. And there we have it, our lovely dominance. Sideways it is. It was a little bit more uptrending into the resistance. Right now is kind of aiming into the sideways. Right, we didn't regain anything. We did fail the lows on it. We did reach the underside retest of that previous swing over here that was settled the high, and now we are kind of failing from it. Quite significant. There's quite a lot of volatility in this and quite bigger candles. It's been quite a while we saw that. Last time it been something over here. So if we're gonna find ourselves below this structure, that could hold us for us a resistance as it did over here. So just remember that. Yeah, I mean, so far, still aiming to go lower. All of the stuff around the 58-ish area percent, it's been already tested, so not much of a hold. I'm still aiming that we might find ourselves over here somewhere as a bear market will get to us, but let's see. Yeah, not much to add to that one, I guess. And moving on the market metrics. Still, both sides are heavy in holding the price action, so that's why we have that kind of dead price action, or let's say a bit stable and yeah, slow. Quite a flip still. Alts are a little bit more above than the large caps on the daily wise, so the volume goes a little bit more into the alts and definitely more in the stables than in the meme coins and capital in the large caps. That's been a say that flip what we had back in the January 19th. We still holding on that flip. We didn't come close to it. Similar that we used to do it over here in November, beginning of November till the beginning of December, the whole month. And we had that kind of like slow grinding into the downside price action. But we are seeing exactly the same over here. So if we're going to see any potential, we're going to reach the middle line on both sides and flipping it, we might see some potential grinding into that resistance and a little bit more of a relief bounce, something like this, right? And then let's see how we're going to settle down. But that all will show where we're going to be there. So overall, we are still quite low in on most of the oscillators, so not much to say over there. not even a sign for any reversal because we didn't regain anything on the candle, so not much of the movement. And the capital flow is still out without even first sign and cross for reversal. And then the whole oscillator trend, like that one is still going lower and lower, lower. Last time we've been like that low on percentage wise, it's starting to look like this, right? Over here. Where was that? That was all of the lows that we settled over here in the previous cycles. Like this low and this low. So getting that low on the oscillating pool and trend. That said, we are still aiming to go lower on the whole market. When the relief bounce comes in, we're gonna go higher up. There is your relief bounce, and then we have to one more, and there is your bear market. Right? So I hope that's quite clear. Yeah, still continuation. Not much of changing it, and there is not even a sign of it. Now, moving on capital flow index overview. Like I've been mentioning, market goes down. Dixie settling in the middle a little bit. VIX reached already above the neutral line. That's a sign that we still could see some volatility coming in to go higher, and we could see this potentially going lower. Dixie same. If Dixie together, we're gonna go higher up. That means every single asset's gonna nuke or go a little bit more lower as a retracement. Because gold still doing the same shit over. It's a range. Technically, silver got lower, and then SPX is already in the range for like month, a little bit longer, months, right? And Nasdaq dipped a little bit lower below the neutral line. So keep in mind this is weekly, so this is really a high time frame. If you're gonna see any movement on the weekly like that, something like above it, then that should be already the first sign, something like this, we will change the trend. So far, not much. We are settling a lower low from the previous low that we've been. So overall, still down trending. Okay. Now let's move to our lovely market meme coin. Yeah, weekly. Sorry, that's a monthly. Let's start with the monthly. So overall, how the monthly looks like, we will see another one, and I mean, hard to say because we are 2 weeks in February. We have 2 weeks left. Sorry, 1.5 week in February, and we have like 2.5 week left of February. So hard to say how we're gonna end up, but looking like this, and after setting already the 5th month quite to the downside, or bearishly if you want to call that, it doesn't look pretty at all, right? So be aware we could open up a new month, first dip to get below all of that stuff, and then just do a small relief, and we have the continuation. Why? Because I'm still aiming that we could see something like that. 2 or 3 months, a little bit more into the upside. So potentially even getting back at 82, inside retest of the previous swing failure, right? So potentially something like this. And then we could move into the bear market stuff. That's I would kind of like to see. And then definitely we're gonna do exact the same, maybe a bit more extended. Gonna be 2, 3, or maybe 2.5 months or whatsoever. Everything what we do over here is extended what we used to do. So there it is. So yeah, that's kind of stuff we could see, or it's gonna be just continuation straight up into the lows. That's all possible. Weekly wise, we had that run up. We are dumping already 4 weeks, getting lower and lower. Constantly, we are way below the price. We are way already below the 86-ish hip, so that's not even holding us. We dipped lower than 60, So the only thing that's right now on the weekly matters is only this price section over here. And that's the 54.2, right? That's the 54.3, sorry, my bad, around-ish area. That's the low that matters and the only low that matters so far, because the rest afterwards, if you're going to settle over here, that's the 40, dip a little bit lower. This is the bear market for me. This stuff over here, that's the bear market. And I don't care about it. Anything here, I'm buying it up. I don't think we're going to get below the 24. I don't think that's all of that stuff that's going to be building as support. Same thing as we did it over here, right? With all of that. Same structure technically. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize that. This same structure. Landed only. So, where did we settle last time? We front run it. How can we do it again? Front run it. So, where could we settle? Some over here. Right? Pretending we're gonna get that, but still. Sorry, predictions. Pending predictions. So we're gonna settle somewhere in like 36-ish around. But make sure you remember that, because that's gonna be the last time ever you're gonna see Bitcoin in 40K or below that. Same thing, we saw Bitcoin below 20K for the last time ever. And then it was the 10K, 5K or whatever in the beginning of. So just be aware of that. I have something in my eye. So yeah, that's the daily. Weekly. Now, daily wise, we did had a run up like on the rest of the market, but not much change on it. Just because we had a one big candle, that doesn't change anything. And right now we are still aiming lower. Weekly been already retested, and even the daily been already retested. So not much to do above it. We still could dip a little bit more lower into the lows of technically the structure of the wick. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Moving on, 4 hour ish. Still the same, right? This is still technically settled a high, but then we broke the low, so that doesn't matter anymore. And today we had one of the most perfect retests of the daily. That's been done. Let's see if we're gonna have a continuation lower into the low of 60, exactly 63. Okay, so that could be, and I know that you are all aiming for that stupid fib over here. That's, quote me, that's not a freaking valid one, because we didn't settle a higher high from this structure that we failed from. This is just only support as it gets. It's nothing to do with the fibs, okay? Be aware of that. There is the difference between the real fib and support fib, okay? So be aware of that. On top of that, what I want to mention that I found quite nice and awesome to see, I think I mentioned that as well on Sunday, I don't remember it anymore. This over here, liquidity, we grabbed it. Oh my god, I don't know how to erase that now. Okay, be aware of me, I never drew over here. But so over here, this whole liquidity pocket I've been mentioning as well, if we're not going to take care of that and close anything above that, we will settle a little bit lower, right? We could lick grab that and have a continuation. We had it. We still are in the continuation at overload. We don't have that much of why does it? We don't have that much of liquidity above us, so not that much order stacked. There is much more, and even freaking more, to the downside. Now, things to note is we had that whole block below us, and that was below that wick that we settled. We had this settled down. That's been pulled. You can see there's nothing anymore, right? That's been pulled. But they didn't pull it, they moved it over here. They moved it quite close into the price section that we used to be, perfectly below the whole structure. This could mean two things. Or they want to be a magnet for the price to push it lower, right? And to break stuff. That could be potentially if they start to stack it heavily. That could be. Or they start to build up a support. And technically, okay, remember, because I cannot pull the fibs over here. 62.1 is the beginning of this whole block. If you pull the fib, 62-ish 6 starts the fib, right? But then it ends up 61-ish. So the block, the whole block is in this area, right? Just remember that. So, oh shit, that's the wrong one. Fuck. Let me just move this because that's not something that you should see. Okay. Anyhow, no, don't mind me. That block over here, that block over here is kind of building for a support. If not, it's not going to be a magnet to push the price lower and break stuff or even get below the wick and settle new low. So be aware of that. There's a lot of liquidity below us as well. That could be as well potentially a magnet. Not much above us, so I'm not really saying us going really, really high just because there could be a liquidations of in different kind of positions. Yeah, that could be. So, or they want mine to fill the bags or whatsoever, or refill them, and yeah, we still could aim for that. But I'm more appealing to the downside just because of all of the stuff that we seeing over here, and for me, that's quite nice. Volume, bearish volume start to pick in as well. So there is a pressure as well from the sell side. Let's see. We're going to be dealing with that. But that was quite interesting that they flip it and they move the whole block quite heavily. So let's see if they're going to stack it a bit more, because if you start to move below the 20 orders, sorry, 200 orders, all right, this is already around the 200 Bitcoin. Start to get appealing like that, but I kind of look for above the 250. That's my line in the sand to see if something is appealing, yes or no. So that block could be interesting. Watch it. Watch it, watch it, watch it. Let's move it like that because I want to freaking show some things that you shouldn't see. But yeah, that's technically my point of view on it. And not much to say. And still, 1 hour start to break the lows even. We are having some structure on 1 hour to hold us. That's why I said, like, the whole point of view, if you want to hold on it, is around 62-ish 5. But you want to hold that. Still, you can dip a little bit lower, but you don't want to settle a new low on the wick, right? Be aware of that. That's the most important. Because then, if you switch on the liquidity, right, it took us a while because that block been here for like quite a long time. We're still grinding into the block of it. We could dip a little bit lower, take all the liquidity. There are some gaps, so not really much for us to go to grab that. I mean, inside we've been dealing with all of that stuff, so that wasn't that appealing, and we still deal with that, and we took this out of the market. So yeah, another leg into the low of that wick could be possible be, but we lost the high, so that high doesn't matter much, or it doesn't say much anymore, because we just broke that high after the low that we broke from, yeah, that's the low from 68.1. So yeah, we're still settling a new low. We had the perfect retest of the daily, so that's it. Weekly been even retested, so not much of the levels over here. All of the daily stacks, that's all been tested. Not really much of things, right, to be dealing with. We still could come back into this pocket just to do something potentially like that, right, because this is your new resistance, and then continue doing the grind sideways stuff. That's all possible, and I would rather do that than going into the really low of freaking in one go and settling down. But that's my point of view. I don't think we're going to deal with the higher than 100K. I'm even not sure if we're going to get close to 90. It's not that I'm that bearish, but it's just the way how I see the things moving and how we've been dealing with the previous highs. So, for example, over here, right, we skipped that. Yeah, we skipped that. Let me draw it much more bigger. We skipped this liquidity. We skipped this liquidity. This been skipped. This and this can be skipped as well. So we are doing quite a lot of skip of liquidity. And believe me, that shit been stacked here for heavily. And people been thinking that we're gonna grab that, but then we didn't. They don't want to listen, and that's the deal. That's fine. So yeah, we could possibly skip the 90k and just run it either it's gonna be 80 or a little bit more into the 86 7-ish k. That's those kind of pockets that I'm aiming get into, and let's see how we're gonna be dealing with. Those pockets are not only because of the liquidity, and they are here just because of the underside retest. That's why I'm aiming for, because we've been doing that freaking for like the all-time high. So that's why I'm still aiming we're gonna do that, or something in that kind of particular way. But yeah, let's see. Let's see how that's gonna be playing out. On the band side, not much to talk about it, just because it's still far away from us. Right, we had that high from the 8th of February, and now we are getting back at the 20 axis, I guess those are. I never remember those colors, but it's fine. The low liquidity on it, so yeah, that's that. And on the ALGO master bands, do I have them? These go a little bit quicker, yeah. And that's as well another thing that I'm kind of looking at, just because they are quite thick over here. That's fine below, and if you drew that line at 62.4 with that pocket over here below us, so with the bands, with the pocket, everything, we could see some potentially something like this into the high, and then do another swing failure, or do maybe one more, and then right, something like that. Same thing we did over here. But then I hope it's not gonna take us 69 days. Well, let's see. So yeah, that's more on Bitty. Let's have a look on this beauty. Hype. Yeah, still in uptrend. 2 weeks in the green, and the one that we are right now is a little bit more retesting the lows. Let's see if we're gonna break it. Daily wise, did settle a little bit lower. Those weeks, like we had a really big sell-off, and I was kind of like in the hopium that this will be voted up and we're gonna run the highs, but unfortunately they don't. They don't do it on the daily, so we did break the structure on the daily. Potentially right now we could get back on 25-ish 7 and hold on this high. My lines. Oh my God. Hold on this. Fucking it doesn't get better. Anyhow, getting back at 65-ish area. That support over here, I will like that a little bit more, and then do a bigger stuff again. Right, so that means we're gonna grind out a little bit more liquidity. But the thing is, structure-wise, yes, but how hype and even per lately goes against the market, I found it strange if it's gonna go to 25 right now and then pull everything up, because looking at the 4-hour, it's a little bit different. Most of the stuff is already tested, and technically I've been saying I did pay attention on that. I bought a little bit more of the spot back, not really leverage, and we had a nice run up. Not something that we get through the highs, but then we start to decrease, right? And we're gonna get back at the higher support. First hold, and now it's the second one and the last one, because if and only if right now we're gonna get below the daily, that's done. Then $25, it's on the table, right? Only 4-hour right now is holding us, and we've been testing it quite heavily. This whole momentum over here, what we're having, that's been quite heavily bought up. So I think we move it from the 20 to 28-ish level that we are strongly buying up on a low time frame, right? High time frame that looks a little bit different, but this is So far, really good buy, in my opinion, with your stop loss literally below the wick. Right? If we're gonna dip a little bit lower, that's still fine, or something like that, sketchy. But then getting below that wick, then that's done. 25 is on the table. That's my opinion. This is great buy. Moving on and showing it again for hype, just to give you the perspective of mine personal opinion, how I'm trading and how I'm buying my bags. Is this right? For me, we are not even high enough to start to sell off my bags, because I've been buying from 25, like I've been mentioning, and I bought a little bit just on lower 25 and 20. So my average is somewhere over here, and we are right now spiked into the TP. Yes, I took that TP, just 10% of it, but it's not something that I would rather sell off like heavily into my bags. Use small 10%, or even I took 5, I don't remember. But then this is just structure-wise TP, but overall the capital flow index is still not close to 60% or 55 for me to sell the first bag of it, because this is still gonna go into the divergence on a high time frame. So technically, first gonna be here, so this is gonna be somewhere over here, and the second one could be above, gonna reach the all-time high, and then the third one's gonna be the whole sell-off, right? Something like that. So yeah, sorry, that's wrong. That's not divergence. So first one's gonna be like this, all-time, second all-time high, and then start to decrease, and then the third one gonna be that, and gonna puke. So, but yeah, this is how I been dealing with hype so far, and this is super strong, right? For hype to hold this after that whole push is super strong from it. And yeah, this looks really good and really nice and appealing, and I would like to hold on that, because then you aiming, the first aim is 34, the mid range of that structure, and then the high of it is 38. So that's another 30% of the move from the low what you are settling right now. And you buy the support and you sell the resistance, right? Only way when you short into the support is when you're gonna do something like this, break that, come back, and now you're shorting into the resist, because you start to break, you swing failure. And then the next higher up resistance is this, right? This is your continuation move. And this is still in the continuation till we're not gonna get below that wick. That wick is your low that you don't want to lose. So yeah, overall, this is still uptrending if we're gonna do that. But if we're gonna start to doing this and then coming back, then we could see some potential lows and then do it again. So yeah, hope that's quite clear. And per as well, same thing, right? Exactly the same structure, a little bit more heavy on the wicks just because it's a low cap, right? But yeah, same thing. So yeah, great stuff. Injective and AVAX, I think I can cover them at the same time, just because they're exactly the same structure and exactly the same position. Same thing like everything else. Right? We didn't set a new high. We are grinding into the low. The only thing what matters right now to hold on the low. Holding that, you could potentially squeeze out a nice long position if you're gonna get back at somewhere like below the, close to the wick, right? And then try to squeeze out and ladder into this to get nice position of it, and then try to aim for the high or the previous high. That's the first scalp-ish ladder into that, right? And then if you settle that new high, you're coming back. Now we can talk about a big positioning or laddering into the bigger stuff. Okay? So I hope that's quite clear. Same thing on injective, same thing on AVAX. Render as well, same thing, but the thing is that quite worry me is this, that we lost this whole structure over here. So we potentially could dip lower on it. That means, like, I don't know if we're gonna fill this. I rather would not. I'm happy with my bags, but doesn't listen to me. So yeah, if we're gonna start losing 1.2, like this area over here, then I would like stop buying it and wait if we settle the new low somewhere over here. cheap below $1. That's for sure. I will rather buy it below $1 or see it over here doing this kind of stuff. But we could, right? We could be in the same kind of position what we did over here, right? We could do it over here as well, a bit more extended, right? So that low, like this, and then bear market stuff and go off. All possible, right? Well, let's see. And Solana, still freaking 69. Really nice that we got that on Solana. I mean, nice. It's cheap to have it on Solana. It's not really nice for the maybe for the whole blockchain, but still, I don't care. 60 and below 60 is super cheap to buy it up and see if we're gonna settle down over here. If we're gonna dip a little bit lower, then that's even more cheaper to buy. Put it up on the backs. I will buy anything below $50. Rather to buy it somewhere like in the highs of 200. So let's see how that's going to be dealing. And if for a second I thought Eve did break the structure. Sorry. Still same thing, right? Losing the 1 point, what's that? 865. Yeah, that could bring you into the lows and even maybe dipping into the 160. I kind of been aiming to see kind of this positioning ourselves. So let's see. That's going to be the deal. If so, I don't know. I was thinking to buy ETH below 1.5. I don't think I'm gonna do it. I'm done with this coin, and for me, it can die off. I don't care about that. That's such a fucking joker. Like, do all of that stuff to get what $100 higher than the all-time high? Like, what the fuck? That's a joke. That's a freaking joke. I'm sorry, but yeah. I don't even know if you can call this all-time high, or if that was just a slippage. Fucking hell, I hope this gonna die off. But yeah, Aster. That's a nice regain if we're gonna close it higher up. So yeah, first 5%, nice. First regain of the high, really nice after record breaking of structure to the downside. But yeah, first regain, great. Still in resistance area, right? This is your freaking whole big ass resistance. But yeah, still good. So let's see if you're gonna hold on that. If you're gonna settle the new high above the 0.5 or hold on that one, and yeah, you could potentially grind out of it and break some stuff to the upside. Note, and there is a lot of resistance. But yeah, if you catch it, then that's good. And to be honest with you, like not memeing or joking about it, like right now, sorry, not right now, but even anything below 105 or around that area, it's a good spot back. Right? But at least what you're gonna run up is like minus 30%, right? But then in one move, this could do 1x. So yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think that's all. Let me have a look on the chat, what you've been yapping around. Oh, hello, Jack. I'm starting to move, yeah? Yes, it does. Pretty nice. Nice. Stepping a bit. Looks shady. Yeah, crypto poly, yeah, that's why. And like not shady that we're gonna do a big move or something. I'm not aiming for that, but like yeah, around the lows and settle down around 62.6. But yeah, this is like every single time, and I guess I hope you guys see that as well. Like every single time you have this slow freaking price action on Bitcoin. So for example, here, and then it does this, and then this, here, this, here, and then it start to get off the cliff. The same thing could go this, and then bang. Right. Low volume. Overall, it's low volume. Hype bear market. So to be, where do you reckon high bear market, low to be? Let's be. Sounds like me. So do I have it over here? Should have got it. Wait, did I? Damn it, I lost it. Okay. Fuck. Trading view, I hate you. Oh wait, how this? Kind of. None of them played out because we did run the high of it, so that doesn't matter anymore. Good. So the bear market for hype. So that's for me that's changed because I've been aiming. I mean, a change. That's not that change, but it all gonna depends how high we're gonna run the this move or in this whole cycle before we're gonna dip. If we're gonna run the high on it, that could change the bear market. But so far, the bear market for me could potentially be over here, above the $10, right? So why do I think that? Because we still, so okay, overall, like this is the daily chart, right? Let's start with that. This is your high, this is your low from this trend. This is your previous higher low, and then that high low, it settled a new low way lower than the previous swing, right? That's the whole swing of that bigger move. Like, okay, you can argue there is one more in between, but I don't consider that one because we technically continuously dip lower. And then we had that bigger move over here that technically broke because that was high over here that broke. So then you had it the whole low over here, and we settled a new low. Right now, what we are doing, yes, we do settle a new high, but then I rather be seeing price going here, break this, and of course, no brainer, break the high. If we're gonna break that, coming back, we could settle over here, or definitely like no brainer, settle a new low somewhere over here, and this could be your potentially bear market for high, right? But if they're gonna round the highs of it and doing some like something like this again, this kind of price action over here, right? And then sweep and then do it again and then something like that, then we could potentially settle down for like above 25-ish area. And fuck, let's, you know what, let's yeah, let's see how that's gonna play out. Right here, there you have it. If you consider super fips in that scenario, then there it is, right? That could be if we start to round the highs, and that doesn't matter like how high you're gonna go. Like this is your area. So far, if we're not gonna do that, then potentially this is it. Oh, Jesus, both of those drawing were quite accurate, but yeah, that's what I'm considering bear market. Yeah, we touched it once, so you know how the deal with the super fib is. If you touch that and you run the high and you come back, you could settle a little bit lower, of course. But in scenario that I'm thinking where a hype could go, and it all depends because we don't have that much data, right? That's the whole the thing that sucks on it, because the only thing we have this and this. Like no one said that hype could potentially do something like that, or like not really forever, but like most of the times. Like why couldn't they, right? Hold that, and will be like one of the most perfect scenarios to buy the low and sell the high, right? Or they turn around and they will do something like, for example, maybe even a bit more perfect scenario as BNB. So high, low, and then continues doing that forever. Like you never know. Like you don't know yet from the structure wise. Company wise, I could see those two scenarios, right, playing out. Just how they deal with the tokenization and the whole getting back at the circulation and to the community, and as well like around the whole perfect transparency of their company, right? That could be the scenario as well on it. So far, what you get from the chart wise is gonna depending how we're gonna end up. So if we're gonna end up mid range, then yeah, we could settle over here. If we're gonna end up above the high, we could settle over here, right? But on top of that, moving on back to capital flow index, I think potentially that will show us where the bear market is or will be. Why? Because monthly wise, and that's the highest one, that's still quite high. So, oh, that here it was. Sorry, I didn't realize where I put it. So here I marked the bear market stuff, right? That's kind of below that whole structure over here. So technically, oh, I marked even below the 15, but anyhow, below the 20 it is. So overall, on monthly wise, if you look at the capital flow index, we still didn't do the flip. So potentially, could we get there? Yeah, we could. We could doing this, or even dip it maybe below it. But then you start to break stuff, so that's gonna be weird. The only thing that you should consider is if this gonna be behaving like it is right now, that the bear market's gonna be around ish above $12. If hype will consistently keep up on the structure, then you can wick it and then close monthly or high time frame above the 12. If not, that's gonna be a break of the structure. So what does that mean? Like what? We're gonna do something like this, like going below $1? I don't see that. It doesn't fit in the scenario of the company, right? If that makes sense. I don't know. My thoughts are weird or some different than otherwise. So far, this is uptrending on the monthly, right? Could we go higher? Yeah. Why? Because, like I said, divergent on high time frame. This is the high, right? The capital flow index goes lower, but the price starts to increase. So who doesn't say we're gonna run the high? It's gonna increase, right? Coming back and then do another high. It's gonna increase more and then do the dump, right? And then you're gonna see the capital flow index around the minus 60 or minus 50 area. And we're gonna settle from over here or here, right? Does that make sense? Like what I explained right now? Because I'm not sure, because it's deadly quiet and I'm not sure if this makes sense and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? But you deal with the high time frame divergence. That's always going to be like on every single token. This is built on divergence as well, my strategy. So I know when price starts to go higher and we reach the all-time high and the flow starts to decrease, yeah, we're dealing with divergence. Second time, it's going to be the same. So you have, the rule is kind of for divergence, but I always aim for 2. So it used to be safe. And then if you see the capital flow index around or below the neutral line, and we are quite high, yeah, you could potentially see that one more dip, and there it is. And that's on monthly, right? Be aware, that's on monthly, what I'm just showing you. So weekly wise, why I'm looking at weekly, just because weekly, it is already lower. It's been lower, and we have that increase of volume. So that's push what we're having over here, right? So we could have potentially another one. As we're gonna reach the 60. Right, so it's gonna be some over here. Then the flow start to decrease, but we could run it a little bit more like that. And we see potentially the whole divergence of it, right, playing out on the high time frame as well. So yeah, that's what I'm aiming for, and it all depends how high we're gonna run. But yeah, that's my takeaway on it, on hype. And yeah, that's what I'm technically holding on it as well. Yeah, overall. high time frame, sorry, daily wise, is quite oversold. Right, we have the reversal one. We could play that out already. So we could run a little bit more higher. Do something like this. So this could turn around, right? And do one more. Going back, do another one, and then do that stuff. Done. Right, that's what I'm aiming. That low over here. Because so far, this is the lowest that Hype did. Right? This is the highest one. Those are the 2 points of interest. There's nothing like in between. Technically, I'm not considering this price action, but in between, this is your mid. Yeah. Like I said, if you continue doing low on daily, what potentially could do, because we are closing below the previous structure, the only one 4 hour is holding us, that still potentially could go lower. I'm aiming for 25 first. If that's going to be the deal breaker and we're going to go lower, then yeah, potentially we're going to end up literally below 20. We dipped just small hip on it over here, but we didn't go fully on it. So yeah, getting below the 20, yeah, that potentially could go. But so far, we are still holding on it and we didn't reach 25. So stepwise, this is still the aim. And let's see if we're going to have a continuation by doing that. Okay, cool. BTC bounce too. Ooh, good question. Like, so far, for BTC, I will love to hold it, something like that. Right? That. But that's just into the high. Right? You could potentially break it up from it and get it like something like this and have a continuation, or do a pivot move, like I was mentioning in the beginning. As well, like I will be super fine with it. Do something like that. And then one more, and then start to fail. Same thing, what we did over here. But I hope it's not going to be that extended. Something like that, right? Build it out. This price action somewhere over here. Yeah, I would rather do that. But if you're going to ask me how high the bounce is going to be, like, to be honest with you, I'm always going to say stepwise. Like, this is your first step. This is your second step. And the last one, I always go in 3. This is your last one. After that, if you reach that high, it's going to be make it or break it. And because reaching that high and regaining that, we change the whole concept of everything what we just did. Everything in between that is just another failure or a small continuation to the next one, right? Resistance, resistance, resistance. Done. I don't consider this as a big resistance, to be honest. So yeah, we could. But then that means we need to hold on somewhere over here. We need to hold that. That need to be held. There is nothing else. Right? Okay, you can stretch it and say like, I want to be much more sure, but careful, but that's been tested. Is this, right? 264.1. Hold on that, that's fine. Getting back and low, that's been tested by the way as well. That could be, but that's the whole aim. And what Stu as well mentioned, this is not a stupid fib, but this is just a support. As in, same thing we're having over here. Right? This hip over here, that's a super fib. That's quite a big block that's been moved from the lows into the structure, right? That's always a sign that we could hold on that, or potentially that could be a magnet to go lower, right? But so far, you're aiming to hold on this. This is your last hope. If you're not going to do that, we're going to go below the wick, no matter what, if you're going to close it below or not, just wick below that, and even coming back, that's going to be something like that. If you still close above this structure, I don't care. That wick, the new low on that wick, it's done. You set a new low. I don't care if it's close above that or not, because then it's going to be definitely this, or even something like in this high and then continuation. Retest short level. So yeah, next short level. Easy as that is this 70.1, right? Between 71.1 and 70. God damn it. Getting view. And 70.9. This is technically your next resistance. Right? You broke that. Previously, like this was the stupid fib. Things to talk about that. Technically played it out. And then you have a continuation, right? So right now, inside, yes, you could do it on two ways. You can pull it over here. Or you can make it a little bit more tighter, but I like always to have it, because then your invalidation level fits with the high of the previous swing. Why? Because you know when that start to get hit, you come into that close, you can have as tight as possible, and then when it hits or break out from it, you just swing fail it, right? Make it even tighter and swing fail that pitch, right? Like that. I like that much more. So yeah, for me, that's the pocket. That's the area. Front run it a little bit. Roger, Roger. Star Wars. So it's been a while I watched Star Wars. See you, Andrew. See you, mate. Have a good one. Thanks for being here. So yeah, I think that's clear, I guess. Everyone understand? Not much questions. So I hope it's, I mean, you guys understand what I'm coming from, what I'm aiming for as well. I have a little bit different approach with things, but yeah. Especially with the capital flow index, this can be a little bit overwhelming, but you need to take time and definitely look a little bit more on the coins if you want to learn from it with bigger history. So for example, let's change that. And this is weird as well because Bitcoin, I never consider weekly, but monthly. So here, let me explain you the divergency on that one. Simple as that. You buy when it's below, right? This is your buy area. When do you stop buying? When you first reach above the neutral line. There, you stop buying it. Easy as that. Next sell when it is the first next sell from the tree. Here, this is your first sell. You regain the high. Always important. That's your TP, right? Next one. Capital flow index decreased, right? Together with the price. That's fine. For mine is if you're gonna get below the neutral line, then I'm selling my whole bag. Okay. Now that didn't happen. It stayed above the 50% line and it reached higher up when we had this. Two things. You not only going, okay, let me zoom in a little bit on that one because I think you cannot see it. So now it's going to be much more clear. This high, that was your first TP. What happened then? Like I've been always saying, capital flow index behave for me, in my eyes, exact the same as a chart. High is a high, low is a low, higher low is a higher low, right? Same as a chart, but I don't considering as structure. So what do we do over here? We set a new high. That's the first sell. We reach lower. We still didn't get below that freaking 50 or whatsoever line over here, right? So yeah, I was a little bit more iffy. But then if you see the capital flow index increase, it didn't settle a new high. It settled a higher low, but the price went higher. What does that mean? Divergent, right? Price go higher, volume go lower. Divergent. So that's the second sell. The first one, the second one over here. Now we have decrease of the inflow and price got higher again. Another sell. You sold already 3 times at the highest peak as it possible gets. No matter if you sell it over here, over here, over here, I don't care. It's still higher than the previous one, right? But then the price flow gets lower than the previous one. So already you have divergent. And now look at that. That's that pullback over here, it's a sign for me, sell more. As quick as possible, sell more. Because the price already reached below the neutral line. Look where we are. We are, let's say, 40%. So another 30% away from the bear market, and we are already in minus 16. Last time we've been in minus 16 area. Here. Minus 16. God damn it, here. Right? Bear market. Before the bear market stuff. One more leg down for the bear market. And then same thing for the bear market. Same thing. Price goes up. Flow goes down. And then when the flow starts to get up, quite significant, that's your sign. Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start to reach minus 40 over here already and 55. And that price going to be somewhere around the ear. Done. And then see you in the next cycle. Easy as that. I cannot make it easier. I'm sorry. I hope that's quite clear. Oh, why do I have those two things on it as well? Total, the whole total and Dixie. I mean, to be honest with you, how, what do you think gonna happen? Whole market gonna collapse and your token gonna go higher. Is that possible? I don't think so. So when the market collapses, your asset will go with it, no matter what. It's the whole total, right? It's the whole market. So there is no such a thing as an outlier of the one token that doesn't follow the whole market and goes against it. Either way, the whole market collapses. That token's going to go higher up. I didn't find it yet. So if that market starts to collapse, and you can see that as well, like over here, reach the high, higher, low, and then one more high. That was kind of like a hooray, and let's sell it off. There you have it. And the asset follows. If the market goes down, your asset goes down. So I have already two confluence. What's going on market-wise? Then that's the third one, but for the Bitcoin, most accurate so far. For the different tokens, not looking for it. But when the dollar is high, market is down. When the dollar is low, market tends to be high. Still, we're not gonna see that flip, right? Because where is the money? In the dollar, not in the market. Right now, over here, this was your, technically the bull run. Dollar was quite low. Why? Because the money is in the market. That's why I keep it like that and follow it. So yeah, that's my fallback strategy. And believe me, I have that set up for crypto communities, stocks as well, and for, I'm working right now on Forex for the next big thing for me, for the Forex as well, to do the flips on that one. If that's gonna play out, and so far all of three of them been working perfectly so far. So you can imagine like why I cannot wait for the bear market. And seriously, I said to my girlfriend last couple days ago, I'm really hitting myself that we start to build the house because all of the money, oh my god, oh, I could put it into this. But yeah, it is what it is. She was quite pissed about that, but it's okay. 40%. Do you use the same for the other alts? Yeah, yeah, BK. I've been showing that. Yeah, exact the same thing. Like the only thing that I do different, Bitcoin, I use it only on a monthly. The rest of the alts I use on the weekly only, and it's exact the same thing. Exact the same thing. So here, hype, for example. I'm gonna show off other ones as well. Like this doesn't make sense because the alts, not all of the alts have the history for the monthly chart, right? That's gonna be in like couple cycles from now on. But so far, that's why I use weekly. And look at that. Did it play out? Yeah, divergent. And we are right now 70% up. Small TP, just a small ones over here I took. And we are still, could be continuing higher on hype. Same thing. DCA. So that means buying for me, DCing into the token and DCing out of the token, right? That, let's be clear about that. If I say buy spot. Next one. Let's say AVEX. Where is it? Same thing on AVEX, right? That one have the history or not? I don't remember it. Yeah, that one had. So I have a list on the spreadsheet which one I'm doing weekly on monthly. But yeah, anyhow, this one as well, right? Same thing for me. And if you look back at this, for example, this price section over here, right? And then you DC out of it. And now what you're doing, same thing. And then the next one could be as well, same thing. DCA out of it. We are talking about what? So 5x, 5.5x on a token. Same thing on an injective. Let's see render, for example. The only shitty thing is that I need to talk with Max about this. I want this a little bit different, a bit more overview of the tokens. But okay, never mind. Render, same thing. It have the, for example, as well the monthly one. So you need to check which one I have or which one don't. Or some newer tokens will not have on the monthly one, right? But yeah, anyhow, same thing. All-time high, right? Look at that. Right? Where did you buy? -38. Done. Start buying this. Put DCA into that. And then what did you do? From the first high, for example, right? Holy fuck. There we have it. 20x? Easily. Easily. Right now, same thing, right? Are we going lower? Yeah, definitely. Price goes lower. DCA into that. Still, you could potentially DCA like either way. Still, structure wise, let's see that 50%. But then you aim for 7x. I rather buy the whole support and as low as possible than freaking to start to buy somewhere over here. Or when people bought it over here, for example. Or here. Right? That's it. This takes time, right? Don't get me wrong. Like it takes time because you aim for the cycles and all that stuff. But yeah, if you're patient enough, if you spot backs, then this is the payout from it. Done. Crow. It's the best one so far to as an example. And most easiest one on the weekly one, of course. Easiest one to flip. There it is. To buy, to buy, to buy, buy. Sorry, this is the buy. I've been way too quick. And right now, you start to buy. Literally right now, you start to buy. There you have it. And look how easy it is. This is the most no-brain ass buy. I cannot make it easier as that. If you cannot make money with this, then I'm sorry. I'm not gonna say it, but I'm sorry for you. This is it. So yeah, hope that's clear. That strategy is gonna be as well on the MDX if they finalize it, by the way. Welcome, mate. Like I said, it's time consuming only, right? You need to be patient and like time my hands or whatsoever. You need to hold on it and wait it out and trust the process, like with most of the things, right? But even here, like, look at that. Where is the dollar, right? The whole process of the tokenized is out of the chain. If that start to get lower and the market with growth start to move up to the neutral line, you're golden. You stop buying it. You just aim for you take profits. That's it. Wait, Rio did 70%? Oh, another move. Shit. Really? The fuck is this? Again and against. Oh yeah. This is it. Next cycle, I want to everyone tell me how rich they got from their spot backs. And finally, we might stop buying on the wrong times or on the all-time highs or whatsoever. And this is this tool. So I was a little bit cocky about it. I'm sorry. This tool helps you identify as well if it's a good buy, yes or no. So, for example, imagine some of you brainless friends or something come to you and say like, "Yeah, you need to buy this fucking token or whatsoever. This is a meme coin. It goes 10x, or this is good. You need to buy it." You can verify that by adding the token to this list and looking at the capital flow index. Like if that's going to be, for example, something like the token's going to be, let's say here, and he's going to come to you like, yeah, you need to buy it. Like, no, I'm not going to fucking buy it. I'm going to wait for the next low, right? On it. Like then you verify yourself if you listen to him or you're going to listen to your strategy, right? Or to someone else or something like that. That's how you verify that shit. And you just wait. You wait patiently. Like patient pays off, guys. That's the only thing that need to be learned and teach. That's down. You're not gonna buy here. Like you can scoop a little bit like for fun or something for one more move or whatsoever. But then you just wait patiently and for this to do something like that. Done. That's how you can verify things as well with yourself and for someone else. Or with like, I don't know, someone gonna tell you like this is a good buy or this is something that you should invest into it without saying you need to buy right now. Like, cool, okay. Then you add it to your list and you wait for that investment to be like realistic for you to buy as low as possible because you want it to be as low as possible, like price wise. That could be as well, but that's something different. But on the flow, if the flow is low, then you start to buy, but not when it's high, right? That's the whole capital flow. And you wait till you're gonna see the signs, and then you start to DCA into it, and then you start to make profits of. Sounds like me. My 2023 bags. Yeah, bro. See, that's before you met me. But yeah, that's how I'm dealing with stuff as well and things with my spot backs and keeping them in check, buying it up, selling it. And I think this is the most efficient way of making profit on spot backs without buying random shit, not knowing what's going on it, right? I guess this is backing up everything. And patient. It's the patient and time, right? That's the only thing what you need for it. But hey, you may want to make money. That's the way. Oh yeah, I've been almost 1.5 hours yapping around, and I think most of you fall asleep. So yeah, this is it, and I will see you Sunday, I guess, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate you all. Love you all, and be safe with trading. Don't go too crazy. You know the levels. Keep in mind, structure wise is king. See you later, guys. Have fun. Bye bye.